Welcome to Fantasy Fanfiction. American Comics. I'm Superman and my wife is Wanda. Chapter 1. The United States, New York. Warm sunlight poured through the windows of a certain house on a sleeping Asian man, shining into his eyeballs through the cracks in his eyelids. Lu Feng was so stung by the sunlight that he opened his eyes. Just when I wanted to get up, I found that my right arm was a little sore. Looking sideways, he couldn't help showing a wry smile. The one holding his right hand was a charming beauty. Long hair as bright as a rose, facial features as delicate as carvings, and skin as white as precious jade. The combination of these beautiful factors easily makes the appearance of this beauty one of the existences called stunners in human aesthetics. And this is his wife, Wanda. Yes, it is the heroic young lady in the well-known Marvel super movie, The Scarlet Witch Wanda. Today is the first anniversary of Lu Feng and her marriage. While Wanda was sleeping soundly, there were frequent gentle breaths. The faint musk emanating from the protruding body is even more alluring. Even if he spent countless nights, every time this body odor reached Lu Feng, it was enough to make him feel numb, as if he had been electrocuted. He reached out and stroked the beauty's hair, then leaned over and kissed her forehead, and said softly, "Good morning, my beauty, it's time to get up, the sun is drying my ass." Woo! Feeling Lu Feng's kiss, Wanda didn't seem to want to get up at all. Such a coquettish red-haired beauty, like a naughty little lazy cat, twisted her curvaceous body in resistance, making it more sexy and cute. Lu Feng showed a gentle wry smile, got up and went to wash up. In the past 3 years, Lu Feng has gotten used to life in this world, and he seems to have forgotten that Wanda is a fictional character in the movie. At least the two of them are real every night, and Wanda's various, or so good, they can play new tricks every time. Lu Feng has not received any news about other superheroes in the Marvel Universe. He himself is also closely observing the information about Stark Industries and Hammer on the news. Judging by today's news, it will take at least 3 years for Tony Stark to become Iron Man before reaching the Iron Man 1 timeline. The current point in time. Green Dr. Titan Banner has not yet been influenced by gamma rays to become a Hulk. I am afraid that he is still trying to marry the general's girlfriend and engage in scientific research to make money. Occasionally, he will appear in the news because of his scientific research success. He would never have imagined that 3 years later, he and his girlfriend would both become extravagant monsters. Doctor Strange is still alive, still working as a doctor. Spider-Man hasn't been bitten by an alien spider yet, so he should be struggling with his middle school exams. The Captain of the United States and the Winter Soldier are two good friends who are still frozen under the deep sea. The Winter Soldier may occasionally be released on missions, but will be put back anyway. The Avengers are the most powerful, and Thor is still in Asgard at the moment, eating, drinking and having fun, and his father hasn't even given him the hammer yet. Captain Marvel, an old lady who always shuttles in the universe, probably won't just go back to her mother's home on Earth if she has nothing to do. Black Widow and Hawkeye are naturally performing tasks as agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. At this point in time, except for S.H.I.E.L.D. director Nick Fury, who doesn't know what he is doing, the stories of other superheroes have not yet unfolded, let alone meeting Lu Feng up. The only superhero related to me is my wife Wanda. As for Wanda's original match, Vision, Jarvis has not yet been produced, and he has not yet been born. Since you weren't even born, then I'm not your wife. Lu Feng sighed in front of the TV. A beautiful voice came from the door. If you get up early and get paid, you are already a billionaire, little fool. Wanda, wearing a red lace pajamas, leaned against the door, sleepy-eyed. Under the sunlight shining in from the window, the beautiful figure looks like jade. Have you had breakfast? Or on a special day, do you need me to cook for you? Wanda asked with a half smile, her appearance was so sweet. No need. Lu Feng trotted over. I want to eat delicious you more than breakfast. They call you the New York Sun. I think it's more appropriate to call you the energetic little tiger. They call theirs, you call yours. After all, this side of me is yours alone. After the lingering with Wanda, Lu Feng changed into a formal attire. The slim suit perfectly outlines his muscular lines. When he stands upright, he exudes a strong aura, like a statue of a god, giving people a strong sense of epic. This is the appearance of Lu Feng when he enters the working state, and it is also the appearance in the eyes of the world. He is the god of New York, synonymous with justice and judgment. Lu Feng smiled at himself in the mirror, then went out to the New York police station, entered the police station. An old detective saw Lu Feng, got excited and bowed. "Dear Police Officer Lu, good morning. I wish you a happy day." "Good morning, John, my old chap, you don't have to do that." With a smile on his face, Lu Feng stepped forward and patted John on the back lightly. But just such an ordinary action, to the old detective John, he was greatly flattered. "No, you deserve this kind of treatment. If you are not willing to accept this, we really don't know how to repay you." "We have nothing to repay you except respect, dear Officer Lu," John said sincerely. Lu Feng responded with a smile, "It's all a little effort, nothing, and it's all what I should do. After all, the greater the ability, the greater the responsibility, right? The greater the ability, the greater the responsibility. What an admirable realm and philosophy. Officer Lu, we understand, and we will continue to work hard." "Oh my God, is it really him? The legendary New York Light Lu Feng. The legendary police officer who reduced New York's crime rate by 50% within a year with a near-perfect ability to solve crimes." A black guy whispered praises to Lu Feng. The newcomers don't need to be so surprised. When you get along with Police Officer Lu slowly, you will find that his astonishment is not limited to this. He can bring us surprises every day, and we will definitely praise him to the point of exhaustion. Another Caucasian boy patted him on the shoulder. "Sometimes, just looking at him, I can feel at ease. He is shining like the sun. He really deserves to be called the light of New York. Oh yes, look at the handsome face and the strong body that can't be completely hidden under the suit, it's really charming." A female police officer couldn't help admiring. "Officer Lu Feng's father is Chinese, right? If I remember correctly. No wonder there is a trace of Oriental temperament in the expression that the United States people will never have. Is the temperament of all Chinese men so admirable? Do you also want to try Officer Lu's Chinese Kung Fu?" On the bed. Lu Feng has a very strong hearing ability. These whispered compliments seem to be spoken in his own ears, and he can hear such compliments almost every day. Lu Feng entered the office. Police Chief Jack, who was reprimanding the new police officer with a serious face, immediately smiled when he saw Lu Feng coming. "Oh, look who this is, my dear old buddy Lu Feng, our hero, the light of hope in New York." The police officers didn't know who the visitor was, so the director's face changed as quickly as a Sichuan opera from Eastern Huaxia. But as soon as he heard the name of the visitor, Lu Feng, he immediately understood. In the entire police department, no, in the entire New York City, who hasn't heard of this Superman-like existence? After all, the title of Light of New York is not something that can be bestowed on any cat or dog. After the chief of the police station paid attention to Lu Feng, he looked at the police again. "If you don't remember what I just said, I promise, I will kick your ugly ass with my size 42 shoes, get the hell out of here now." "Yes, director." After the police officers left, Lu Feng sat on a chair. As soon as Lu Feng sat down, the chief stood up spontaneously. Lu Feng didn't speak, and the director just did it consciously, like a rule, and like a physiological reaction formed after being ingrained in his mind. It was a kind of silent respect. Lu Feng didn't beat around the bush, put his chin on his hands, and asked the director Jack with a serious face, "Jack, tell me, why was the person I arrested yesterday released?" Director Jack's eyes are very interesting. First he panicked, then he tried to dodge, and finally he expressed helplessness. And none of these subtle movements could escape Lu Feng's sharp eyes. "Lu Feng, I know you will be upset if you do this, but I can't help it, because it's not my decision." "Who is that?" Lu Feng lowered his voice. "This is an order from above, and I have to follow it." "An order from above? What kind of bullshit did you issue?" "I don't care what idiot's order from above is. That woman killed someone in front of me and was arrested by me personally. I will never allow anyone to let her go without permission. Are you listening? Anyone? Otherwise, I will settle accounts with you. No matter where you escape, I will find you. Believe me, I will definitely." Lu Feng had a tough attitude, and his powerful aura directly suppressed Chief Jack, who was still reprimanding the police just now, so he dared not say a word. "Well, I respect you, and I promise you, I will settle this matter, and everything is up to you." Jack replied with a sigh. Very well, this is my old buddy. Lu Feng left his office. As a result, the moment Lu Feng stepped out with his front foot, Jack, the submissive director in front of Lu Feng, suddenly became dark. He reached into his pocket and took out his mobile phone, and dialed a number. He intervened in this matter. Yes, so we can't do anything now, we can only turn off X23 first. Lu Feng returned to his office, and as soon as he sat down, a translucent text box suddenly appeared in his mind. Today's lottery chance has not been used, do you want to start the lottery? Close black lens bracket. Super lottery system. This is the gold finger that Lu Feng got after traveling to this world. There are lottery draws every day, and the prizes range from real objects to abilities. Lu Feng's success in this world is due to the Superman blood he drew a year ago. Yes, that's right, everyone is familiar with it, the speed of light flight, hand-pulled trains, hard-resistant bullets, DC's strongest superhero Superman who won't die even if thrown into the sun. The potential of Superman's physique is endless, like a gold mine that will never be exhausted. As long as you are willing to dig, you will always be able to harvest, and the value is definitely high. And the Superman ability drawn by Lu Feng seems to be stronger than the performance in the comics of the Silver Age, but because it has only been obtained for a year, Lu Feng has not yet been able to exert its full strength. As long as I slowly gain the power of Superman, no one in the entire Marvel universe can be my opponent. But drawing this physique seems to have used up Lu Feng's luck for a whole year, causing him to draw some irrelevant, even weird things every day. For example, Green Titan's pants, Thor's wine jug, and so on. Today Lu Feng routinely drew a lottery. As expected, what is Black Widow's bathwater? Boy, what's the use of this thing? Do you want to drink it? Lu Feng has become numb to this, and learning how to use Superman's strength is the most important thing. After finishing the lottery drawing, Lu Feng looked at the information in front of him on the table. On it was a woman with short brown hair, Laura Kinney, 21 years old, adult. Lu Feng narrowed his eyes, repeated the name constantly, and raised the corners of his mouth after saying it. If it were someone else, it would be easy to ignore you, right? At first glance, this name is indeed no problem, just like an ordinary woman. After all, there are many people with the same name in the United States, and the heroine of Tomb Raider is also called Laura, but this is for people in this Marvel world. But Lu Feng, who has watched all the Marvel movies including the X-Men series, definitely knows what kind of ruthless character this woman named Laura with her fierce eyes is. The terrifying weapon nicknamed X23, I never thought I would meet you in this way. Wolverine Logan's daughter, Wolfgirl Laura Kinney. Lu Feng once knew that this woman cloned from Wolverine Logan's genes was no less capable than his father in terms of massacre ability. Not to mention that she has grown up now, and her mind is extremely mature. If she is allowed to wander in the society without control, it will definitely set off a bloodbath. She can give people a very violent aura just from the photos, which can be perceived by everyone, and facing such a person, Jack wants to let her go. There must be something tricky. Lu Feng looked slightly at the chief's office. It seems that the police chief Jack is not a good person, and the goal is very clear. But Director Jack is not Lu Feng's target. Lu Feng looked at the information about the little wolf girl Laura in his hand again. After thinking about it, Lu Feng got up and went to the interrogation room. It seems that I have to talk to you. Boom. Lu Feng pushed open and closed the door, and entered the interrogation room where little wolf girl Laura was imprisoned. Laura didn't respond. She remained motionless, staring blankly at the table, not knowing what she was looking at. Lu Feng has long been accustomed to this. Because in Wolverine III's movie, the little wolf girl Laura behaves like this when she treats strangers. It would be better to say that Lu Feng will be surprised if she has a carefree, enthusiastic and cheerful personality when she meets her. Are you hungry? I brought you something to eat. Lu Feng put the hamburger on Laura's table, but the little wolf girl remained indifferent as if she was blind. Her eyes were already sharp, and she looked silent at the moment, as if those red-brown eyes were about to shoot out two sharp knives at any time. Just sitting down was terrifying. But this kind of eyesight is not born, but acquired by practice. It is not something that can be practiced by sitting at home every day, but while fleeing. Hey, you should understand English, right? Laura was still indifferent, as if she was deaf. If her eyes were not still struggling, Lu Feng would have thought she was asleep. It's really a troublesome child. Lu Feng pretended to be helpless. I can't help you like this. Those guys will come to this place eventually. Finally, Lu Feng's strong concentration allowed him to capture the micro-expression of little wolf girl Laura, and she was shaken. Yes, she is in urgent need of help, and Lu Feng knows this very well, which is one of the reasons why Lu Feng came to talk to her. You have encountered difficulties, right? After all, your ability to kill like that doesn't belong to the category of ordinary people. No matter what is lacking in life, enemies will never be lacking anyway. Lu Feng began to persuade Laura deeply, and you are in a very bad situation at the moment. Let's not talk about the original enemy, just talk about the present. What will happen if your secret is accidentally discovered? There will be countless people who want to send you to be studied and dissected all the time. Believe me, their enthusiasm will be higher than cooking food. After all, knives can be hidden in the knuckles and toes, and the super self-healing ability should be something that can make many people feel jealous. Including my chief of police, he's not a nice guy. Would you like to be someone else's guinea pig? Or choose to tell me everything and let me help you? Lu Feng successfully attracted little wolf girl's attention. Laura raised her head and looked into Lu Feng's eyes, as if she wanted to hear Lu Feng confirm and guarantee the authenticity of this sentence. Yes, you heard me right, I have ability to help you, provided you trust me. Laura glanced at the camera again. It means that what they are talking about now may be monitored by others, which is no different from being sent for research. Don't worry, I've turned off the camera, no one will be able to hear our conversation, believe me, I have the ability to do it. The little wolf girl expressed doubts without saying a word, while Lu Feng shrugged. Otherwise, you can also pay attention, the red dot on the camera has disappeared. With your identity, you should often escape, so you should know better than me what the cameras in the police station are like. Now Lu Feng finally convinced the little wolf girl Laura. She sat in a more comfortable position and looked up at Lu Feng. How can I believe that you will really help me? Lu Feng waved his hand. You believe me, but you may be arrested. If you don't believe me, you will be arrested 100%. Do you think you still have a choice? Besides, if I really wanted to hurt you, you wouldn't have the chance to sit here and chat with me face to face. But I won't, do you know why? Because I am the light of New York. Lu Feng was smiling, very sunny, the word righteousness seemed to be born for Lu Feng, no decent person would reject such Lu Feng. I have indeed heard about your reputation, and I have also seen your ability. Little wolf girl finally let go of her guard. Perhaps, you can really help me. Lu Feng slightly listened to the little wolf girl's secret. Regarding these things, Laura really hid them very deeply, because it was related to her fate with mutant. Lu Feng also listened quietly without disturbing her. An hour later, Lu Feng finished talking with the little wolf girl Laura. He sat in the office, quietly thinking about what the little wolf girl said and everything about his first acquaintance with her, and began to dig deeper for other things hidden under it. It turned out that the little wolf girl Laura was hunted down by the military before. It is said to be chasing and killing, but in fact it is to capture her alive, but it may be captured and researched in an inhumane way. The reason for the hunt is simple, because Laura is a mutant. Such things also appear in the X-Men series of movies, and what they express is this kind of connotation. Human beings are afraid of creatures stronger than themselves, so they will start wars. Their rhetoric and purpose are all excuses. It's just that it has become more serious now. Lu Feng secretly thought. However, hypocritical human beings, while expelling super ability people, will rack their brains to obtain their abilities from super ability people. They are both cowardly and greedy. Before there were mutants such as the X-Men to maintain the order and balance between humans and mutants, but in this timeline, the X-Men have long since disappeared. People like the X-Men are dead, even the well-known undead Wolverine died under the military when Laura was a child, and Phoenix ran to a certain place with a Phoenix force without knowing it. Humans vented. As for the little wolf girl, as Wolverine's heir, she naturally became the target of the military just like other man-made mutants, and has been chasing and killing her for 10 years. As long as these little mutants are dead, then, mutant can truly disappear into the world. Definitely, the premise is that it will be used for research by them before death. Some died during the research, and Laura was the last of this group of little mutants. With the quickness and vigilance of a wolf, she escaped for many years and killed many people. Although most of them were enemies, some of them were ordinary people who were implicated by her and died. For her, the concept of good and evil is not so clear. This is what she said to Lu Feng herself, and Lu Feng also has reason to believe that it is true if she can say such a thing lightly. In short, Laura has been hunted down by the military until 2 days ago. The scale of the military was beyond her understanding, and it was the time she was most likely to be caught. Instead of being treated as a guinea pig, Laura chose to fight to the death, but she was no match for 4 hands. And at this moment, Lu Feng with a Superman physique as strong as a god appeared. Lu Feng recognized little wolf girl's adamantium claws, and knowing her identity, faced her being hunted down by the military. He naturally stood by her side without any hesitation and rescued her. After all, looking at the entire Marvel and X-Men world, only her daughter Laura can use adamantium as a claw, except for Wolverine Logan, who self-heals as strong as a monster. But even putting this aside, considering the circumstances at the time, the frenzied expression on the military's face when hunting and killing the little wolf girl was enough for Lu Feng to be sentenced to death. When the military becomes like a ghost, it loses its meaning of existence. He did the same, and killing the military that was chasing Laura was as easy as crushing a group of ants. At that time, Laura was watching Lu Feng's arrival. In her eyes, Lu Feng's every move is like an angel and a god. This is the second man in Laura's life besides her old father Wolverine Logan who makes her feel safe. No wonder she didn't resist when I arrested her. I thought that based on her personality, she would quarrel with me for a long time. It turned out that she had a crush on me since then, and the part of the interrogation room was just her disguise. Lu Feng nodded thoughtfully. It has been 3 or 4 days since that incident. As for the reason of the military who knew that Laura had come to New York, but could not enter New York with a big fanfare to snatch her after the incident that day, Lu Feng can know without guessing, they dare not. But any reasonable person would make such a decision, because now New York City has become Lu Feng's world. 3 years ago, Lu Feng had been recognized by the entire New York City, including the existence of the leadership class. All the people in New York were grateful to Lu Feng, and made a rule that unless an inevitable war broke out in New York City of the United States, New York could only be managed by Lu Feng alone. This is a customary agreement. In other words, New York at this moment is dominated by Lu Feng alone, and the Light of New York is also the King of New York. So no matter who it is, as long as they come to New York, and Lu Feng doesn't dislike him and doesn't mean to expel him from New York, it is equivalent to being awarded a gold medal to avoid death. Any force must not wantonly come here to make troubles and rob people, even murderers. This is the same thought of everyone. New York is Lu Feng's sanctuary. He lets in whoever he wants, and if he doesn't want to let in, no one dares to enter. Even creatures who think on their toes can understand that the army, whose mind is chasing and killing Laura the wolf girl, is not welcomed by Lu Feng, the Light of New York. That's why Lu Feng brought the little wolf girl Laura back to the New York police station, firstly to inquire about the X-Men, and secondly to protect Laura's safety. And the military will never give up. After all, little wolf girl is too important to them. That's the bloodline cloned from Wolverine Logan's gene, who wouldn't be confused. The military will definitely try every means to kill Laura, or lure Laura out. If it's the latter, it will definitely need. Lu Feng looked in the direction of the director's office. It all makes sense now. Jack tried his best to let Laura go, the little wolf girl, because he had been bought by the military. As long as Laura is released and leaves New York City, the girl will lose the protection of Lu Feng, the King of New York. If the military succeeds, Laura will be tortured to death after being caught. My dear Director Jack, how much money was paid to you to betray me, so that you can even feel disgusted by the position of director? What Lu Feng hated most in his life was betrayal, but Director Jack is just a small person and he is not in a hurry to deal with it. What interests Lu Feng more is the military. Although in the final analysis, Laura, the little wolf girl, is not a good person despite the filter of the X-Men. This little girl is emotionally unstable and has a violent personality. When she gets into disputes with others, she will kill as soon as she wants. She is not ambiguous at all, and has completely lost the concept of good and evil. However, no matter what, she came to New York, and came to Lu Feng, the place where the light of New York was, so it was up to Lu Feng himself to decide what to do with her. After hearing about my deeds, those reckless military dare to extend their hands to New York, and they don't take me seriously at all. Lu Feng sneered. If you think about it at a deeper level, the military is just a flag, and it is commanded by others. So, to touch my domain so recklessly, someone must be playing tricks. Things are not that simple, but they are starting to get interesting. I really want to see what kind of monster is the guy hiding behind and leading everything. Lu Feng took out his mobile phone and made a call without haste. After connecting, before Lu Feng could speak, a very attentive voice came from the other end of the phone. It's me, Jack. Feng, what's wrong? Lu Feng raised his lips and responded, now, you can let Laura Kinney go. Oh, really? I mean, why did you suddenly make such a decision? I know I shouldn't ask, but more than an hour ago. It's nothing, I have a new idea. I think I should trust your judgment. After all, you are my most inseparable buddy, aren't you? Ah. Oh, yes. I swear to Jesus, I will be extremely loyal to you. I love you, my brother, as I love my parents. The other side of the phone responded. Okay, let's do this, let Laura Kinney go, not just let go of the police station, but get her out of New York, as far away as possible. Turning off the phone, Lu Feng rested his chin with both hands. No matter what guy is hiding behind, if you want to play, I will play with you. But, don't let me not have enough fun. On the other side of the edge of New York, in a certain base. A group of people in black stood in the darkness, like the human bodies of lonely ghosts. Among them, a leader-like figure standing among the crowd reached into his clothes and took out a phone to answer it. Are you sure? After chatting for a few minutes, the leader hung up the phone, turned to look at the crowd behind him, and said loudly, the wolf has come out of its lair, everyone, gather your energy and prepare for action. This time, we must capture her. Everyone must remember that it is alive. As night fell, Lu Feng left the office, it was his off-duty time. When he left the gate of the police station, he paused intentionally or unintentionally, did nothing, just stood with the corners of his mouth slightly raised, and then walked away from the New York police station as if nothing happened. At the same time, on a tall building 1 mile away, the sniper scope of a sniper rifle kept locking on Lu Feng's figure, but its purpose was not to shoot him, but just to use the effect of the telescope. No force shot and killed Lu Feng easily. After observing Lu Feng's every move, the high-rise black shadow dialed the phone. Director Jack is right, Lu Feng, the light of New York, is off work, what should we do now? According to the original plan, wait for X-23 to be released and capture her. The other end of the dialogue responded. But are we really going into New York to rob people? I'm afraid. Idiot, are you thinking of apple pie? The caller was scolded. The person on the other end of the phone has a tough attitude. Now is the most relaxing moment for New York light Lu Feng, and it is also our best opportunity. You don't have to wait for X-23 to leave New York City. As long as you leave the police station, it's time to act. As long as you act fast enough. Remember, everyone has to work hard. Even if there is no New York light, we must not underestimate X-23. Don't forget how the previous people died. There is no other way but to insist. Understood, this time we will definitely get rid of the shame. And all of this was captured by Lu Feng, who has super hearing. He didn't show any emotion on the surface, but continued to walk home. It's time to explain to you, what is in our Chinese proverb, the praying mantis catches the cicada, and the oriole is behind, you guys. The other side. Laura, a wolf girl in a gray hoodie, stepped through the gates of the NYPD. Just an hour after she talked with Lu Feng, Laura got the message that she could leave. The others were at a loss as to why Lu Feng refused to let the little wolf girl show up an hour ago, and then let her go inexplicably an hour later. But Laura has already learned about Lu Feng's thoughts. All of this was within Lu Feng's plan. What Lu Feng expressed was simply to put a long line to catch a big fish, and Laura at this moment was the bait. Thinking of this, she murmured to herself, it's dead anyway. I can only believe that that guy really has the ability to help me. Anyway, I am still experiencing the same escape as before. The worst situation is to be arrested and studied. It doesn't make much difference whether Lu Feng helps or not. As Lu Feng said, Laura had no choice. The man known as the Light of New York may really be the only one who can help her. Who else but him? Even the X-Men are gone. Is there anyone in this world who can save people like themselves? Are there any superheroes? If there is, it is Lu Feng. He may be New York's last hero. Laura walks under the night of New York in the United States. To her, high-rise buildings are no different from jungles, except that they are made of reinforced concrete, and humans are more greedy than beasts, and no one is more greedy than Laura. Understand this. She put on her hood and lowered her head as she walked through the crowd, quietly scanning passers-by with her sharp eyes, ordinary people, otaku, office workers. This is not Laura's super ability, but a skill acquired in the day after tomorrow. She can know a person's occupation and personality by observing his appearance, especially those in the military. During the years of fleeing, Laura has known the behavior of the military that specializes in capturing the X-Men. Just by standing, just by passing a glance, Laura can detect the identity information of the other party, just like the ability like a scanner. In previous escapes, she had successfully escaped by relying on such skills. Although most of the time, the head is cut off with one claw, but such a skill is still very useful, and it can prevent Laura from putting too much energy on it, such as now. 3 people, no, 5. Among the fingers of the right hand, only the index finger and the inner side of the thumb have calluses. The palms of the hands are rough, but the back of the hand is not. They can't help looking at me. Looking at the size, they are charging. Laura immediately got the information. On the other hand, the mercenary disguised as an ordinary person, X-23 is still under surveillance. This is the busiest sidewalk in New York. It will be difficult for us to attack unless, wait. X-23 suddenly ran. She realized our existence already. The 5 soldiers received the order to pursue, and the 5 followed Laura one after another, but they felt more and more wrong during the pursuit. Because she didn't go to a crowded place, but chose a dark alley. This is simply not the best place for prey to choose. Could it be? As soon as the military came to a conclusion, his abdomen was penetrated by 2 steel claws in an instant, and Laura immediately pulled it violently, and his stomach ruptured by itself. The other mercenaries realized all this and hurriedly drew their guns, but it was too late. Laura turned into the Phantom of the Night, spun around, and harvested a head with the steel claws of both hands using extraordinary movements. In just an instant, 5 people fell into the pool of blood. Laura looked at the corpse and said coldly, "If you want to kill me, you have to show some skills." She turned around and was just about to leave here without looking back, but unexpectedly, there was a whoosh, a bird-like sound came, and the next moment, she was shot in the neck. Fact. Laura was not stupid, she knew there was a sniper without even thinking about it. And what the sniper shoots is not a bullet, but a sedative needle, but this is more terrifying than a bullet. Laura inherited the self-healing ability from her father Logan, able to heal the wounds caused by bullets. But sedatives won't work. Once this thing happens, her end will be slaughtered. Successful shot X-23, repeat, successful shot X-23. She has already produced antibodies in her body, and the dose of 1 injection is not enough. Take advantage of the victory and pursue the attack. Keep shooting. The Wolf Slaughter team blocked the exit. The commander is still giving orders, revealing a skilled business ability in his words. Just 1 shot of tranquilizer will make Laura lose half of her strength, which is already a fatal situation. Laura's consciousness has begun to blur, and she can only vaguely notice that outside, a group of mercenaries are waiting for her with guns, like a tiger with its mouth open, and she is a fat lamb. But Laura is not the kind of person who will bow her head like fate. As long as there is even a glimmer of hope, she will never give up. She pulled out the sedative needle from her neck and yelled, "You fool! I'm going to drag you to death." Whoosh! It was another sedative shot, but this time, Laura, who had been prepared for a long time, managed to dodge with the sharpness of a wolf. Then, she opened her hands suddenly, and in her mind was the most classic signature move of Wolverine's father. She opened her forearms vertically to both sides, and adamantium claws appeared with a slap, entering the fighting state. Then he rushed to the mercenaries outside. "Put on real bullets and shoot. Quick." The first person locked by Laura asked his partner to shoot in panic, and the gunfire rushed out of the gun like a ghost, with the purpose of devouring Laura, but at how can the speed of Laura of the moment fall into the category of ordinary people? 2 meters away, Laura was still in danger. By the time Laura was within 7 steps, the blade of the guillotine had been polished to a shiny finish for them. Fack. Hurry up. Puff. The main artery on the neck was cut off directly, and the huge amount of blood donation was like a fountain, dyeing the red moonlight in Laura's face. The military in the mere human domain can't capture Laura's figure at all. At this moment, she is a god of death. The battle broke out, attracting countless people to watch, and the news was overwhelming. It's just that this group of people was well disguised, and the United States people didn't know their identities at all. On Laura's side, because only her claws are injected with adamantium, Laura's agility is faster than her father Wolverine Logan. She turned into a wolf that can only hunt, and used blood donations to nourish her adamantium claws. However, it is precisely because of the adamantium in her body that she has a fatal weakness, that is, she cannot be as indestructible as Wolverine. Wolverine's adamantium covers the whole body, bullets can't penetrate, but Laura can't. The military knows this well. So, seeing her go crazy, he had no choice but to put on real bullets to disable her on the premise of saving his life. The rate of fire of real ammunition is faster than that of the tranquilizer needle. As long as the barrage is large enough, no matter how fast Laura is, she will never be able to avoid such an attack. Countless gunshots rang out, bullets rained down, and Laura's right arm was pierced just like that. Although it can still self-healing, it will lose control in a short time. The military saw that it was useful, but another series of bullets pierced Laura's left arm. Now, Laura, who can no longer fight with her left and right hands, is reduced to a useless person in the eyes of the military. Quick! Someone go up and maim him with an electric shock baton. One of the mercenaries approached Laura tremblingly. Suddenly, Laura hits a high kick. PFF'd. The adamantium claw growing from the toe pierced a mercenary's neck. Laura was laughing like crazy. Now she didn't care if she got away. Now she was thinking about killing a few more of these sons of bitches before she died. Quick! Smash all limbs and capture her. Remember not to beat her to death. The leaders in the military are still obsessed with Laura's ability. Laura suddenly finds it ridiculous. It's not only these people who are laughing, but also this society. Okay. It's time to go. Hurry up. The leader hadn't finished commanding yet. Suddenly, with a bang, gunshots came from nowhere, and a mercenary beside him was headshot. Plasma splashed all over the leader's face. Fack! Someone is standing on Laura's side. And he is a guy with excellent marksmanship. The leader was so frightened at this moment that he bent down hurriedly and began to look for who was shooting. The man with the gun obviously didn't intend to give him time to think. Bang bang bang, bang bang. No matter how the mercenaries escaped, no matter what kind of cover they found, it was just like the laws of nature. As long as there was a gunshot from afar, someone would be headshot and fell down. This is completely like opening and hanging general marksmanship. Seeing this scene, the leader who was hiding aside not only thought of a terrifying character in his mind, but murmured to himself, the perfect marksmanship. There is only one person in the United States who can do it. Got the man who is called the Light of New York. Lu Feng. Jack, didn't you fooling say that Lu Feng has come home from get off work to have sex with his lover, and he doesn't know about it? What's going on now? How come your favorite New York light is back? The leader slapped Director Jack directly. I don't know anything about it. Jack covered his face, unable to express his pain, but he really didn't understand anything in his little head. The leader was distraught, but at a loss, because he not only couldn't find Lu Feng's location, but also couldn't find a reason for Lu Feng to stop attacking him, and his powerful mercenaries were falling down one by one. It's like a plague. Laura saw it too. At the moment when he was about to faint, his hostile army fell down one after another like dominoes. No matter how red-eyed and exhausted Laura was, she could fully understand the situation at the moment. Someone is on my side, and that person is. Thank you. Lu Feng appeared in front of Laura, carrying a sniper rifle. If it's later, you won't be here. It's better to come early than to come early. Anyway, you can self-heal, and let you kill a few more mercenaries to vent your anger. Lu Feng put down the sniper rifle and replaced it with 2 Desert Eagle pistols. As soon as Lu Feng finished speaking, the leader of the army got a loudspeaker and shouted at Lu Feng, "Lu Feng, stop immediately. You don't even know what kind of mistake you made. You can't beat us. This is to provoke the upper body." Before the leader could finish speaking, he just heard the sound of gunshots, and he fell directly into a pool of blood, with an obvious blood hole on his head. This time, he immediately stunned everyone present, including Jack beside him. Director, just slumped on the ground. From the very first sentence I said, I already wanted you to die. Lu Feng sneered disdainfully. It is absolutely impossible for the military of the United States to serve the people of the United States. The military of the United States only serves the capital. Lu Feng knows this very well. The remaining mercenaries still wanted to resist, but Lu Feng would not give them a chance. He raised his 2 guns and released the gunfire, still shooting one by one without any deviation. The people who don't know what kind of strength they are facing should be you. It was chaotic, the shops on the street no longer had any complete glass, and even the buildings were crumbling. Broken bones and internal organs were scattered on the ground like household garbage, and the crackling sound of the fire burning building materials continued. Such a scene can easily remind people that 2 huge teams are engaged in a small-scale war, and the losses of both sides are astonishingly large, forming a situation where both sides suffer. But that's not the case at all. One of them may be a well-trained mercenary team, but on the other side, there are only 2 people, and one of them has been seriously injured. In other words, all the firepower on that side was released by one person. What caused all this? The man who carried a giant sniper rifle and had a European-American bone appearance and an Asian appearance, the man known as the Light of New York, Lu Feng. He looked at the hostile man and raised his pistol. "I don't know what kind of strength you are facing, it should be you." Boom. Gunshots sounded. The picture froze at this point, and Lu Feng's figure was frozen on the big screen with the aura of a god descending from the earth. At this moment, the audience, watching the big screen exhaled in unison. When watching the video, their chests seemed to be weighed down by heavy stones, and their breathing was difficult. "That guy, Lu Feng, is simply a killer," one of the 7 people sitting around a round table said slowly. This is a dark room on the other side of New York. A group of people are sitting around a huge amounts of round table, just like King Arthur's round table knights in Western legends. The only difference is that they used combat uniforms instead of armor. What was playing on the big screen was the scene of Lu Feng carrying a giant sniper rifle and shooting the mercenaries one by one. This is an extremely weird ability. No matter how the mercenaries dodge or find cover, the bullets in his gun will always headshot the locked enemy, as if the bullets fired by him are equipped with automatic navigation devices at the moment they are released. Such marksmanship, he is definitely not an ordinary person. Among the 7 people, a heavy voice came out. This voice has an old breath, like a big tree that has grown for hundreds of years. The upper part is crumbling, as if it is about to fall, but the roots of the lower part are firmly grasping the soil under the ground. How many troops are left now? A man who looked younger responded after thinking for a moment, General Boyd Holbrow. The elite troops we sent originally had 200 people, but now, there are less than 100 left. And the leader of the team has also passed away, fell in a pool of blood. The middle-aged white-haired man named Boyd, after hearing this, his face became cold and his fists could not help clenching. Then he took out his mobile phone, entered a series of numbers, and after a few seconds of beeping, a voice came over there. "This is the White House of the United States. I am General Boyd Holbrow, who is in charge of solving the mutant." Boyd communicated with the characters over there on the phone with a heavy voice. At the end of his words, he said, "Troubleshoot as soon as possible. All this, because my people are being killed by Lu Feng." Speaking of this, Boyd paused for a while, and then spit out a word from his mouth: "Massacre." After finishing speaking, the phone was hung up by the person over there. Back here in New York, Jack, the chief of the New York Police Department, received information from the mercenaries that everything would be settled. But facing such a scene, he couldn't be happy. It's a scene like hell. Gunfire and blades tear the air, leaving trails of smoke and flames. As soon as the blood splashed out, it was shocked back by the impact of the bullet from the other side again. The blood stained the ground, like a massacre in a zombie game. Jack hadn't even recovered from the scene in front of him. After all, before Lu Feng in his eyes was still kept in the dark. Unexpectedly, Lu Feng knew everything. He is someone who has seen Lu Feng's capabilities. Now, I really provoked the devil. That guy is a killer. As long as the headshot is enough to kill with one hit. Lu Feng, who thought the sniper rifle was loaded too slowly, muttered to himself, and then continued to slaughter with double guns firing continuously. The enemy had seen Lu Feng's marksmanship before, and the shot was absolutely perfect, so they had to find a way to use tactics to circumvent it, but they were still indifferent. Because no matter how they dodge, every bullet Lu Feng shoots will accurately penetrate the heads of the people around him. The frightening thing is that even if they run in circles, the moment Lu Feng pulls the trigger of his pistol, with a flexible wrist movement, the bullets he shoots will shoot out in a strange arc. Yes, that's right, it's a bullet that can bend. Jesus, how is this possible? What kind of monster are we fighting against? Didn't the leader give an order? Wouldn't there be rescue? Why hasn't the rescue arrived yet? If people don't come, our elite troops will be wiped out. The mercenaries were not idiots who wouldn't fight back when they were beaten. The bullets in their hands also tried to pour towards Lu Feng. However, Lu Feng, a man like a monster, is not only superb in marksmanship, but also extremely flexible in body skills. All the bullets shot at him, either dodging their heads or turning around and squatting down. Even when he was motionless, the bullets shot at him passed by him as if they were destined to miss. Just by Lu Feng's glance, you can tell. When Lu Feng was dodging the attack, the bullets in his own guns were not idle. On the way of dodging, he could always grasp the timing of pulling the trigger of the pistol. He moved flexibly and shot accurately at the same time, like a firestorm on the battlefield. This series of performances can no longer be described as proficient. Even the little wolf girl Laura, who was in the same camp as Lu Feng, was shocked. How did you do it? This is simply impossible to reach the scope of human beings. Lu Feng shrugged and said casually, the world is so big that there are no wonders. You can be a mutant with steel claws, who can self-heal when you are shot by a hail of bullets. My bullets can bend. What's so strange? Lu Feng chose not to answer. Because this is the special ability that Lu Feng got through the super lottery system one day, bucket of gun. There are 4 known types, including quick gunfighting, gunfighting alpha, gunfighting beta, and gunfighting gamma. Quick gunfighting, characterized by speed, with a quick draw of the gun. The high-speed shooting strikes and suppresses the enemy first, and at the same time, the master will rush to the enemy at high speed with the help of firepower, and start a mixed battle of half shooting and half fighting with the enemy. Gunfighting Art Alpha, its characteristic is fire suppression. Use your own judgment to judge the enemy's movement, and then use your own steps and positions to avoid the enemy's attack, and use the gun in your hand to effectively shoot and attack the enemy all possible directions of action. At the same time, on the premise of ensuring these as much as possible, according to the pre-judgment, carry out preemptive strikes against the enemies who are about to attack themselves. The gunfighting technique Beta, its characteristic is strange. Its users are good at melee combat, integrate the use of firearms into the fighting, and suddenly fire a cold gun when the enemy is unexpected. One of the masters is also good at concealing guns, and the guns he uses are hidden on his body. No one knows where his guns are hidden when he is not shooting. Gunfighting Gamma, its characteristic is sniping, ultra-long distance strikes are its biggest feature, and the masters are also good at controlling the trajectory of fired bullets to achieve the goal of precise and efficient strikes. And Lu Feng himself showed it clearly. He knows all the above 4 gunfighting techniques. That's why Lu Feng didn't show his Superman physique in front of the world, but he can enjoy the great appreciation of his New York lights. Only relying on the gunfighting technique, without anything else, you can become a god of death. By the way, when talking to Little Wolf Girl, none of the bullets fired by the mercenaries with their backs to Lu Feng touched even a single inch of Lu Feng's clothes or hair. He dodged the bullets as easily as if he was drinking water, or the kind that drinks a few liters in one go without panting. Okay, now it's my turn again. Lu Feng turned around and re-entered the combat mode. Every bullet fired by the pistol would not be wasted. When the bullets ran out, he casually took out the magazine from the bag prepared in advance and replaced it. Only at this time, the mercenaries can breathe a little bit, and they don't have to die continuously, but it's only temporary, because after the magazine is changed, Lu Feng will turn into a killing god again. After killing more than 40 people in a row, the phone in Lu Feng's pocket rang. But he didn't seem to hear it, and the movements of his hands didn't stop at all. Just like a child who has lost himself in playing games, no external factors can stop his playing time. He's ignoring the phone call. He's crazy right now. This guy is an out-and-out devil. The soldier over there constantly shouted these desperate words. As for Lu Feng, he didn't pay attention to these people, and the gun in his hand never stopped. Just like that, she shot and killed 10 people again. The little wolf girl Laura couldn't bear it anymore, and said, "Your phone has never been stopped. If you don't answer it, you will lose it. I am annoyed by the ringing." Lu Feng said with a smile, "I definitely have to pick it up. I just want to have more fun. After all, it's been a long time since I played so heartily. Moreover, I don't need to guess who is calling and what his purpose is." Lu Feng's words are not groundless, because his mobile phone is specially made. He can call anyone he wants, but he won't be called by anyone, except for 2 designated people, one who always ruins his playtime. The other is his wife Wanda. According to the current situation, the chances of it being Wanda are slim. That can only be the one who will disappoint Lu Feng, and Lu Feng can't do too much to him. So Lu Feng finally stopped firing the pistol and got through the phone. As soon as it was connected, there was a roar from the phone, "You fooling, stop me." If it were someone else who yelled at Lu Feng like that, he might have already disappeared, let alone the red-eyed Lu Feng. It's like kicking a lion in the middle of a hunt, with the kick in the ass. But when he heard the voice on the phone, Lu Feng smiled instead of anger. "Isn't this the voice of my old buddy Arthur? Why did you call me abnormally today? Could it be that he wants to invite me to Washington, D.C. for a drink again?" Quote. "Lu Feng, don't ask me what you know. Every time you fooling leave this kind of mess to me, waiting for me to wipe your ass for you. What's more hateful is that you still don't answer my phone." The yelling on the phone continued. Lu Feng still had a playful smile on his face. "Oh, I was busy just now. Although it's not a big deal, it's just that I had 2 hands with a group of children. How can such a trivial matter deserve the chief of the Washington Police Department to call in person? Children. That's from the military. You wiped out their 200th elite troops by yourself. It's no wonder they don't settle accounts with me. But you're still glib. Are you my boss? If they don't look for you, who will they look for?" Lu Feng was still smiling. It really pissed me off. The other party's anger was like a girlfriend acting like a baby to Lu Feng's ears. After all, this is not the first time Lu Feng has done this. What he has done, I am afraid the fingers of both hands cannot count. The man who called was Lu Feng's boss, Arthur. He is also the chief of the Washington Police Department. Apart from his status as a subordinate, he and Lu Feng also have a very good relationship with each other in private. That's why Arthur couldn't scold Lu Feng like an ordinary subordinate. As I said just now, this is not the first time Lu Feng has made trouble. So there was an agreement between the two that Lu Feng's number would only be called to Lu Feng under Arthur's enforceable order. This means that powerful forces have intervened. And if such a large force is dispatched to settle the situation, it must be Lu Feng's big shot to hold the power. And when this happened, Lu Feng couldn't make it difficult for Arthur, so as long as the phone was connected, Lu Feng had to stop what he was doing. In the end, Arthur could only ask Lu Feng, in short, don't kill military personnel now. Get out of there immediately. Also, don't shoot at people when you leave. Okay, I got it, anyway. Lu Feng glanced at the dozen or so mercenaries who were still alive, and shrugged. They were also killed to the point that there are not many left. Arthur on the other end of the phone wanted to say something, but Lu Feng had already hung up the phone. Throw away the pistol, and then help the little wolf girl Laura, whose injuries are almost healed. The game is over, I believe you have enjoyed enough, let's go. What kind of ability do you have? In Laura's eyes, even if Lu Feng did such a horrible thing today, she would subconsciously think that this will never be Lu Feng's limit. He is like a super creature with unlimited potential. Lu Feng didn't answer directly. A man should maintain a sense of mystery, shouldn't he? That's the end of the military business. Just like Lu Feng's boss and old buddy Arthur, all the people in the police station were mobilized to wipe Lu Feng's massacre tonight. Some cleaned up the scene, some transported the corpses away, some compensated the owners of the damaged shops, and some dealt with news reports. Now is the information age. Lu Feng has done such a big thing. If he doesn't keep his mouth shut, its influence will expand even more. The police department is quite proficient in these businesses. As for the elite troops slaughtered by Lu Feng, only a dozen or so people remained. Maybe the boss took them away through Arthur's arrangement, but it didn't matter to Lu Feng. They are just flags, and they can't set off any stormy waves. And Lu Feng himself has already mastered gunfighting skills. Gunfighting skills may not be useful to superheroes like Avengers, but it is too easy to deal with mercenaries. Lu Feng crossed his arms and watched the police station clean up the mess. The cell phone in his pocket rang suddenly, and it was still Lu Feng's cell phone that only the two designated people could call. Arthur has called just now, so this time, even elementary school students can figure out the problem of subtracting 1 from 2, it's his wife Wanda's phone number. As the saying goes, what is your attitude when you meet someone? Lu Feng saw that it was his wife's number, and before he answered the phone, he had already squeezed out a smile. Hi, my beauty. After answering the phone, his tone became extremely gentle, as if every word in every sentence was carefully selected. Yes, there is a small incident at the police station, and I may not be able to go back until later. Yeah, I'm also very irritable. I'm sorry I can't be with you, dear. By the way, have you had dinner? How about I bring something back to eat later? Okay, I love you too, moi. Lu Feng looked like a nympho girl when talking to Wanda. The little wolf girl Laura, who was watching all this, couldn't believe her eyes. Lu Feng, who is still treating the military like an ant and taking lives like nothing just now, is actually more tired than the apple pie he ate a few days ago. This is not a little bit of contrast. Regarding this, she couldn't help complaining. You have Chinese blood, so you can change your face in Sichuan opera, right? Lu Feng couldn't laugh or cry, and said, although I don't know where you learned about Chinese culture, I always feel that you are hurting me. Don't doubt it, I'm just hurting you. Laura said bluntly. You don't understand. Be fierce to your enemies and loving to your wives. This is a fine tradition in China. Lu Feng looked a little proud. You, a kid who has never been in a relationship, must not be able to understand this. How about I introduce you to someone in the police station? In the New York Police Department, there are no strong men who can completely control you, but there are a lot of young men. Are you interested? Lu Feng asked jokingly, and the little wolf girl responded with a blank stare. The little wolf girl said so. Lu Feng also lost the fun and stopped teasing her. The two returned to Lu Feng's office together, and then 2 police officers escorted Jack, the NYPD chief, into the room. It is somewhat ironic that the chief of the police station, who at least had superficial power in the police station in the past, is now being detained by a police officer who is not sure how many levels lower. Not to mention that he betrayed Lu Feng, now he really has no face. If it wasn't for the shackles that locked his hands, Jack would have dug a hole with his bare hands, stuffed himself in and buried him. Lu Feng looked at him, unexpectedly not angry. Maybe it was just after chatting with his wife, he was in a happy mood, and Director Jack's betrayal was seen through by Lu Feng from the very beginning. Therefore, Lu Feng just looked at Jack meaningfully, and asked gently, then, my dear New York Commissioner, what happened to make you, who has always been jealous and unselfish in front of me, betray the whole of New York? Quote. Jack was silent for a while, and then slowly said, I thought of a lot of excuses to excuse myself, but after seeing you, I couldn't say anything. I'll tell you the truth, there's no particular reason, it's just that, they're paying a lot of money that I won't be able to earn in my many years as police chief. So, yes, as you said, I betrayed New York. I have no complaints about how I should be punished, and I will let you deal with it. I don't know if it was an acting explosion, but Director Jack had a correct attitude. After speaking, he looked at Lu Feng with extremely sincere eyes, as if he wanted Lu Feng to see his repentance. It's a pity that Lu Feng doesn't like this. He doesn't care whether it's true or not, because he has his own rules for doing things. So Lu Feng said slowly, traitors will not be forgiven by others. You betrayed New York. Although you haven't killed anyone, you still have to suffer. So go retire to the Mississippi Delta, there's no one there who can pay you to betray New York a second time, and it's fine to stay. Quote dot dot dot. Okay. Jack was taken out. At the last moment, Jack still had this attitude, which at least proved that he didn't act. But as I said just now, Lu Feng doesn't care if he's acting or not. After solving Jack's business, it's Laura the little wolf girl. Lu Feng turned to look at her, and said, "You should also know your crime, right? Although you fled after being hunted down by the military, you have killed a lot of ordinary people along the way. There are too many people to count. You still have to accept the judgment of the law." Laura was the first to ask, "So I'm going to stay in prison first, right? I didn't expect you to have a decent attitude." "That's right, you have to go to prison to wait for the sentence. If I find out that you ran away after making a fuss, I will definitely catch you back with my own hands," Lu Feng said seriously. Little wolf girl Laura did not refute either. After all, where is staying for her? In the prison, at least someone will give him food, so he doesn't have to worry about not being able to see the sun tomorrow morning, or waking up to find that his body is full of scientific research pipelines. As long as there is this cheap-looking man who is called the Light of New York. The NYPD is probably the safest place in the world. As for the judgment or something, Laura, who has experienced the storm, will not have any fear. After the wolf girl left, Lu Feng's stomach suddenly gurgled. No matter how strong he was, he still needed to eat. Presumably he had been busy all day and didn't eat much. It seems that there is a new restaurant nearby, which is quite good. Just as he was about to go home, Lu Feng was going to a nearby restaurant to buy some pizzas for Wanda. In the evening, there were not many people in the pizzeria. Lu Feng went to the front desk to order 2 large portions of barbecue pizza, but when he spoke, the other party didn't respond. Lu Feng thought it was because the front desk's ears were not good, and repeated again, "Is it because my English is not up to standard? Dude, 2 large barbecue pizzas, put more cheese. You are." Instead of answering Lu Feng's question, the other party jumped up and down in excitement, covered his mouth with his hand, and faltered when he spoke. "You are Lu Feng, the Light of New York, right?" The boy who looked 15 or 16 years old asked excitedly. Lu Feng smiled wryly and nodded. "It's really you. God, you actually come to this bad meal. Oh no, I shouldn't say that the restaurant I work in is a bad restaurant. Although it is really terrible. But it doesn't matter. The point is, I actually such a coincidence, so lucky to meet you." The boy's behavior completely made Lu Feng laugh. Yeah, it's really a coincidence. There was something in Lu Feng's words, because he had already recognized the boy. This kid is a good neighbor in New York who is full of praise from men, women and children. "Nice to meet you, too, Peter." "Oh, you, why? I don't seem to have said my name yet." In order to explain why he knew, Lu Feng pointed to Peter's clothes. "It says on the work card, Peter Parker, right? If I didn't misspell it. So that's the case. Ha ha ha, let me just say, how could the famous New York Light Lu Feng know such an unknown person like me? Hey, I don't allow you to look down on yourself. Children are always eager to be recognized, so Lu Feng patted Peter on the shoulder, giving encouragement as a senior. "You are no different from me," Lu Feng said seriously. "But you're a hero, and I'm just a nobody. You have to believe in yourself, one day you can become someone like me. Even a hero who is more famous and useful than me, superhero." Superhero. Me. Really? Definitely true. Silly boy, you are Spider-Man. As the superhero in the history of American comics who can't compete with DC Batman on the popularity list, no one in the entire Marvel universe is more famous than you," Lu Feng said secretly. In fact, no matter how powerful a superhero is, it has human nature in the final analysis. While it has advantages, it also has disadvantages, and it is even weirder than ordinary people. For example, Iron Man Tony Stark, who was a playboy billionaire before becoming a superhero, naturally has a more paranoid and conceited personality. In particular, he is still a genius with attainments in the field of science and technology, and he tastes hurtful words, which is why the story of Iron Man 2 inches unfolds. Lu Feng also knew some other guys. For example, the 7 weird heroes in Black Robe Pickets, the fake Aquaman, Deep Sea will mast RB to the new hero, the fake Superman, Homelander is a giant baby without weaning guy. Although this drama is not a superhero drama in the traditional sense, the heroes in it are more flesh and blood than superheroes in the traditional sense. Every hero has flaws. Lu Feng himself actually has some shortcomings, such as he's horny, and nipples and asses are more likely to make him succumb than anything in the world. As long as I let him bathe in the sea of women, I will forget about all righteousness and injustice, and saving New York is just a matter of interest. But he wouldn't say that to Peter, but try to encourage Peter. It is true that not everyone can be a good hero. Courage, kindness and justice are the most important. I believe you can do it, because I have seen such good qualities from you. But you have to discipline yourself with the highest standards. Because the greater the ability, the greater the responsibility. Peter Parker listened carefully, especially the last sentence. Finally, Lu Feng concluded, "So, promise me that if you become a hero one day, you will be the greatest hero in the world, okay?" Peter was very excited. "I see, Mr. Lu Feng." Lu Feng became Peter Parker's superhero guide by accident. Even the most classic Spider-Man line, "With greater ability, comes greater responsibility," was uttered by Lu Feng before Peter's undead Ben-uncle. After picking up the pizza, Peter asked Lu Feng for his autograph before leaving. In order to be unique, Lu Feng wrote in Chinese, and when he handed it over to Peter, he could see the glitter of gold in his eyes. Maybe this will lead Peter Parker to arouse his interest in learning Chinese. Spider-Man who can speak Chinese, well, it's interesting to think about it. After a busy day, Lu Feng finally returned home. As soon as she sat on the sofa, her buttocks were still warm. Wanda jumped up and got into Lu Feng's arms. Lu Feng smiled and hugged her and kissed her passionately. "Why is it so late tonight? You're not at home watching a movie with me, I'm bored," Wanda said in an arrogant tone, and nodded Lu Feng's nose. "There are a lot of cases today. The police station can't do it without me, so I have to work overtime for a while. After all, I am the light of New York. Can't just take the title and not do business. I also brought you your favorite barbecue pizza. Today's barbecue is almost ready. I also specially reminded the clerk to add more cheese, which is your favorite flavor." Wanda smiled and picked up the pizza, jumping happily like a child. She is the most easily satisfied woman, and also the woman who loves Lu Feng deeply. HMPH, this is not too bad. "I am hungry, let's go eat." Lu Feng nodded and held Wanda's hand for dinner. After eating, Lu Feng and Wanda went back to the sofa in front of the TV. Wanda was lying on Lu Feng's lap. The two watched the movie that Lu Feng owed Wanda. The two finished the movie in front of the TV. Wanda slowly said to Lu Feng, "By the way, honey, I'm going on a business trip tomorrow." "Business trip? Which job? Art director?" "Yes, you always can't remember my job." Wanda pretended to be angry, and Lu Feng responded with a wry smile, "That's because you change jobs too often. If you do one job full-time and do it well, you might become a rich woman, and I'll be your little boy. I'm looking forward to this day." Slick tongue. Wanda said so, but her expression did not show any dissatisfaction. "This business trip, I will be away for more than half a month, and I will not see me for a while." Half a month. Such a long time. Lu Feng half closed his eyes. "Then I'm going to feed you tonight." The next day, in a military base far away from New York, there is still a dim room, and there are still 7 leaders sitting around a round table. Although there was no scene on the screen that resembled the arrival of the Lord of Hell, the heaviness on the faces of everyone present was no less than that of the previous incident. The reason is very simple. Last time we were only discussing how to prevent the devil from killing people, but now it is even more serious, discussing how to get rid of this devil. The latter is more than 1 or 2 times more difficult than the former. Just imagine, how to get rid of a guy who is difficult to stop. Use your own military power to encircle and suppress him again. But last time, even the elite troops that I spent a lot of time and energy on cultivating were wiped out, and then I spent a lot of troops to encircle and suppress this guy with 1 enemy and 100. The battle damage is absolutely astonishing. So forget it. Definitely not. Lu Feng alone can make the entire military restless and fearful. Ignoring this matter, how can we inspire the army in the future? And what if Lu Feng, the light of New York, appears halfway through other military operations? This guy is a killer, this time it is a sniper rifle, next time I don't know what kind of gun it is. Seeing everyone meditating in distress, no one made a suggestion. It's not that there is no way to deal with it, but I'm just thinking about how to deal with it to minimize the cost. The white-haired General Boyd Holbrow, who was sitting at the head of the round table, tentatively broke the immersion. So, have you guys figured out how to deal with it? General Boyd's words were like a reminder, and anyone who couldn't answer them might be punished. Then Major Wilson, the second in command among the 7 members of the round table, said slowly. Currently, there is no optimal solution. The ones that cost less will not work, and the ones that cost more will outweigh the gains. I can only say that Lu Feng, the light of New York, is too unfathomable. Boyd heard this and said, how can it be unfathomable? Isn't he just proficient in some firearms? No matter how many firearms a person knows, and no matter how superb his killing skills are, he can't escape the category of human beings. Humans will have shortcomings. He showed his ability in firearms, but this guy's real strength must be more than that. This is what his eyes told me. The second in command slowly analyzed. In the video last night, what I saw was a male lion molesting ants with its tail. He has unlimited potential, and we must not judge his own combat effectiveness based on the tip of the iceberg he has shown so far. Although the second in command, Major Wilson, was the enemy, he shouldn't praise the enemy in front of his own people. But regarding these, the people present did not have the slightest objection, because the people present were not blind, and all of these people were battle-tested fighters. After years of polishing, they have already learned that they can tell whether a soldier is a good candidate just by looking at the soldier's eyes. After witnessing the massacre of Lu Feng last time through video. Yes, they are not blind, everyone is like common sense, and they all gave this guy the recognition of the king of soldiers, even if he is an enemy. Such a guy. It's the best time to remove him before he grows up, otherwise we can only spend more energy on him. Wilson fell into silence, obviously not knowing how to answer. It's only for us, so the loss on our side will be too great. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and support my channel.